Family and friends reunite and sports clubs start up again. People in England will start enjoying a little bit more freedom from today.
Yeah, the government is urging caution, though. Let's get a bit more from our GP this morning, who regularly on a Monday morning is Dr. Nighat Arif. Good morning to you. Lovely to have you on the programme. It feels, I suppose, for many people waking up this morning, like a significant step forward for many in England.
It's like a sigh of relief. We feel that we're finally making headway towards a roadmap out of lockdown. And that's because all the measures that have been put in place, we've just been doing fantastically with them. 30 million people have been vaccinated with the first dose, up to 3 million people have been vaccinated with the second dose. And so all that incremental things that have been put into place is coming to effect. So the rule of six has come back. That means that you can meet up in groups of 6 people or loved ones in an outdoor space. You can meet in a private garden in an outdoor space as well. Open air swimming, which is going to be great news to some. Open air sports such as golf and tennis golf. Dan, you'll be quite happy, get back up again. And so this is great. And then hopefully, if we continue with the vaccination programme as it is, if we manage to keep the transmission of the virus low, we manage to keep the pressure on the NHS low, we manage to keep all of those sort of things that we've been put into play, all that hard work that we put in, if we don't sort of lose sight of that but keep going, but then by the 12th of April, we should be able to have far more easing and then hopefully get hairdressers and other sort of facilities. Gyms will be open there, which I know a lot of people will really be looking forward to that because that will help mental health and loneliness so much more.
And we'll be looking later in the programme at the sort of government's campaign to, I suppose, provide a bit of clarity about the indoor-outdoor side of things, because there are concerns, aren't there, that once restrictions are lifted a little bit, then some might push that too far and we'll have to go back to as we have been for the last few weeks. Is that a concern that you sort of have in your mind and something you're discussing with your patients?
Yeah, something that all of us clinicians who, unfortunately now, COVID-19 is our bread and butter. This is what we deal with in general practice and we've had to deal with the fallout of it. So we are nervous. We're slightly nervous because if we look at what's happening to our European friends, they are going into their 4th lockdown and they've had their 3rd wave. And unfortunately, this virus does mutate. And the reason it mutates is because we don't have a handle on the virus. And so it is up to us as individuals, up to us as a nation to pull together yet again as we come out of this to make sure that we are still washing our hands. We're still thinking about face covering, making sure that we're in confined spaces, that we're wearing our masks and we're keeping physical distancing from people because we know how this virus behaves now. This virus doesn't really care about the mood of the nation or what it might be or what's happening overboard. What this virus knows about is that it gets into a host body, infects that body, passes that virus on to other people, and vulnerable people, unfortunately, it costs their lives. It takes away livelihoods. So let's be cleverer than the virus and make sure that we keep up those measures that we know drives down the virus. And then hopefully we should be able to follow the roadmap as we are. And the vaccination programme, I mean, I've always said how brilliant it is, but that's where please come for your vaccination. We are getting into the 50s groups. And then hopefully as we go through the younger groups, that vaccination programme will again allow us to help in order to get back to some sense of normality.
Nighat, can I ask you about something connected but slightly different? Because last week I asked you a question about mask wearing, and someone over the weekend, last weekend, had talked about masks being sort of part of life for a number of years. You made a comment on that, and then subsequently you were given all sorts of vile abuse on social media. I almost want to apologise for asking that question in the first place, but how has the week been? Because you were subject to some horrible abuse last week.
Oh, thank you so much for checking in on me. That's so kind of you. I think it was the volume. So my journey on BBC Breakfast has been, I stumbled into it by accident, and unfortunately getting comments here and there that in fact I smile too much or maybe laugh at something that which I thought was a common sense thing, or I don't mind people picking on the way I look, because unfortunately the way I look is very different to what you see on TV. I get that. We still want to know that everybody fits into the normal prototype of what is normal on TV. And unfortunately, what you look like, not what your brain is like, the intellectual things is what we value individuals on. I understand that. But then for me to say, I don't mind you asking the question, it's a very valid question. I gave my opinion based on how we know viruses behave, and face coverings, whether we like it or not, in some degree will have to be part of our mainstay for a number of years to come. I'm really sorry if that isn't something that people want to hear. We wear seatbelts every day and I make sure the passengers in my car wear a seatbelt, because it's not because I'm afraid of something. It's because I know that if I'm involved in a car accident, I and those people in my car are safe with me. And we have to keep thinking of the virus like that. We have to keep those and ourselves safe for many, many years to come. But what I don't agree with is that you can pick apart my scientific opinion, but if you're then picking apart my colour, my faith that I choose to practice, my gender as a woman, then that is not on. And loads of people are calling this out, but the volume this time was just immense. And I felt that I had to call it out, because as a doctor who works in the NHS, who's worked in the pandemic, that gives me some privileges and also gives me some support and some confidence to be able to call out discrimination. And so for individuals who were calling out, they're incredibly brave, because I felt really scared calling it out and blocking people. And then for you, Dan, to call it out, this is what we need. We need allies. If you see any discrimination, homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism, sexism, misogyny, racism, Islamophobia, call it out and validate it. Become an ally. I know it's a headache, because that means that you're putting yourself forward, but then also have those conversations with yourselves. We all have some sort of discrimination or some biases, unconscious biases. That's okay as well. But then check in with yourself every now and then, say, what is it that I don't understand about that person? And it's always about education and awareness and learning and asking questions. And if anybody ever wants to ask me about Islam or why I wear a hijab, I'm more than happy to have a conversation over a cup of tea.
Oh, well, it's always a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for talking to us about that. I know it's been a bit of a rough week, and we always value your expert opinion on this programme, and we really like you being part of our weekly chat with GPs as well. So thank you so much for that. And ignore the haters. I know it's a lovely thing, social media, and we have a lovely chat every now and again on social media as well. But it's a powerful tool, which has unfortunately given power to tools as well. But you can ignore most of them. Nice to see you this morning. Take care of yourself.
Oh my goodness. Whatever team Nigat is on, I'm on that team. Really powerful words from her
some of the
this
stuff
morning.
that people said about her last week. And like many people, that we work with football pundits sometimes, and you can have a go at their opinion, what they say about a game, what they think about a player. But when that opinion then is about how they look, whether they're a man or a woman, and the colour of their skin, then it crosses a line.
Yeah, we're very, very